Next, we have Ondrej coming up, who will go back to a more traditional way of wilderness, and he will present a project about old growth forests in Europe. Ondrej, are you there?
Yes, hello. I will share my screen. Okay, so one more time, I will tell more about the research and protection of European wilderness. And I work basically for Faculty of Forestry, Department of Forest Ecology, and we run there the project Remote Forests, which is the short name for research on mountain temperate primary forests. It is one of the largest research of primary forests in Europe, and we work in 9 countries, in Carpathians and Dinarids, but also in Germany and few other countries. And we have scientific cooperations all around the world, also in America and some other countries. Our research is based on the large network of research plots in forests. It is mostly in mountain forests, mostly spruce and beech or mixed beech fir spruce forests. And one of our main working technique is dendrochronology. You can see the process of taking the data in these 3 pictures. Firstly, we core the trees, then we process the tree cores, and then people in laboratory are measuring the tree rings. And the result is that we analyze the patterns, how the tree were growing, and there are different analyses how you can do it. And the result is that we see how the forest was growing and how it was changing during the years. Because the trees in primary forest are quite old. You can see some example here. This is the age structure of one plot, and you see that there are also some 500 years old trees, and it is common that they are around 200 or 300 years. So it is pretty long time when you you have the data. The basic concept in our work is natural disturbance. A long time in ecology, there was the prevailing idea that the ecosystems are growing until some climax stadium, and then it is more or less like balanced. But today we see that all ecosystems are shaped by disturbances, and it is some kind of cycle that it is changing. You can see it in these 2 pictures. When bark beetle or wind damage some part of forest, it release the smaller trees which are growing under it, and then we can record this change in the data. Here you can see that in the year 1945, 50% of canopy cover was removed, and in 1876 there was another disturbance, but it was a little bit smaller. And when you compare different plots in different stands, you can see much more complex picture. Here you see how it looks in the forest. Somewhere it is mature forest with large trees, somewhere it is falling down, somewhere it is regrowing, and it is the circle which is different. In some places it is in larger areas, somewhere you have only small disturbances, but the basic is the same. On the opposite side, there is salvage logging, which is which foresters claim that it is helping the forest, but the result is interruption of this cycle and long-lasting damage to whole ecosystem. And here is some place in large Tatra mountains where they saved the forest. Here you can see the border of natural forest and artificial spruce monoculture, and I think it is quite well visible how big difference it is. This artificial monoculture, I don't even talk about it like it is forest. It is more some field for timber. It don't have this cycle. It have artificial cycle, and it is not able to evolve and to react to climate changes. It can only be attacked by bark beetle and logged in with salvage logging. Our results were presented in many articles. I will tell a few words about some of our recent publications. This was quite important review where my colleagues participated. This collective of our authors was mapping where are the last primary forests, and probably you know that they are really rare, and we lost them almost entirely in Western Europe, and we still have some bigger areas in Central Europe. But for example, in Slovakia we have 10,000 hectares, which is also not it is not very much. The largest areas are in Romania and Ukraine, and then in Northern Europe. But the problem is that even we don't have a lot of primary forests, but in the same time we don't have protected the remaining primary forests, and it is really problem. In the second article, we found out that it will be enough to extend the protected area network by a little bit more than 1,000 kilometers square, and it will save all remaining primary forests. But I like more the number which is behind 19,000 kilometers square, because it don't have really ecological sense to protect only primary forests and to destroy the surrounding. We need to protect large functioning landscapes which can adapt to climate change. The isolated fragments of forests are not able to survive in long term. This was also nice thing. Our head of department participated in this study in Nature about the symbiosis of fungi and trees, and they found out that with climate change there are changes in this symbiosis, and it have quite a big effect on decomposition and carbon cycling in forests. But for me, most interesting thing is that this title picture, which was or on cover, is my picture from large Fatra mountains, and we used this in Slovakia to promote the protection of primary forests, because it was in media and we had again some possibility to talk more about protection of nature. I will go a little bit faster because we had the some interruption in the start, and I would like to go a little bit further. But as we are doing also the research on carbon cycling, and probably you know that that primary forests and natural forests are really key places for carbon sequestration. In 1 hectare, we can have 250 tons of carbon. It is really a big amount. Also, it is important that we can sequester a lot of carbon by regenerating of previously managed forest, and when we allow them to regenerate to more natural state, it will sequester a lot of carbon. Yes, we are also working on the dynamic of mixed beech forests. Here are some pictures from large Fatra mountains where we have the largest areas of these forests in Slovakia, around 3,000 hectares. It is a really big area, and you can see, for example, in this picture, that also in beech forest you can see some stronger disturbances. Mostly it is traditionally viewed that the severe disturbances are only in spruce forest because there is bark beetle, but you can see them also here. It is interesting to look also on birds and other biodiversity, because a lot of foresters claim that not only foresters but sometimes also politicians, they claim that in dry forest or so-called dry and dead forest will live no biodiversity, and nothing can be more further from the truth. That we have the data for birds and different groups of biodiversity, and we see that in these disturbed forests, it is ideal place for many species. For example, this three-toed woodpecker or pygmy owl, you cannot see them in heavily managed forest because they need a lot of standing dead trees. Basically, I found in my research that with disturbance, it is you can see the big change in structure, and birds are not decreasing in diversity. There is only some species turnover, that species which are common in high forest are not so common in dry forest, but there are other species, and it is good that the disturbance is offering the possibility to a whole array of native diversity. The same is with the insects. My colleague was leading this research about beetles, and basically we found that time since the last disturbance is the main factor which is shaping the diversity of saproxyric beetles. My current work is about a very interesting area in terms of wilderness. It's Fagaras Mountains. We have there more than 200 research plots, and this is the screenshot from Primo Faro report, which was made by Matthias Schickhofer. Some of you probably know him. They were mapping the old forest in Romania, and Fagaras is definitely one of the best places in whole Romania. From our ecological perspective, it's interesting that you can see the spruce forest, which is going down to the beech forest, and these are the large undisturbed valleys with no logging. This is the best valley or one of the best valleys in Fagaras Mountains. We spent in here a lot of time with the research. This is our group after the week there. We are currently also working on a documentary about these mountains, because it's important to show people how such big complexes of natural forests looks and how they functions. These are a few pictures from our research, and here I want to point to the fact that for me maybe this spending time in the nature and finding some emotional experience in the nature is even more important than scientific facts. I see it like very personal thing to when I wake up in the forest and I'm counting the birds. I am whole days there, and I feel there like at home. And then it disturbed me a lot when somebody is destroying this my home, and this is also the reason why I started to cooperate with this initiative. We Are the Forest, which is founded by Evis Foundation. It is the largest public initiative for protection of nature in Slovakia. It started with one movie which was quite viral, and today it is supported by more than 70,000 people, and maybe what is also important, by more than 100 scientists. We try to share the scientific information to public in some digestible way, and we try to create public pressure on the changes. I think we are quite efficient because in last years this topic really went public, and before it not many people were taking care about what is in the national parks, but today a lot of people talks about it, and it is also the work of other organizations. Today we have the actual thing which is quite important part of our work, the monitoring of Capercaillie biotopes. Capercaillie is Tetrao urogallus. I don't know if you know, but it's a large black, I think black growth is the name, and we are monitoring the area, and we are writing complaints to environmental inspection. And so today Slovakia is facing a lawsuit because the European Commission filed a lawsuit against us to European Court of Justice because we as Slovakia or our officials claimed that we are doing some steps to protect Capercaillie, but it was only lies, and we showed these complaints, and the result is that European Commission was not satisfied. From my point of view, one of the best ways how to help nature is to cooperate with journalists. For example, here we were in the forest with people from Geo magazine. This is a few days ago in Slovakia Ministry of Environment. We were with our minister, and we see that he is doing very good job, and he tried to help really from his heart. So we hope that we will have more places like this in a near future. This is currently largest strictly protected area in Central Europe. It is 100 kilometers square, and why I'm showing it, these circles are the remnants of primary forests. These are our plots, and this rest of the forest was mostly spruce monocultures. But when you go there today, you see how the biodiversity, including many rare species, is spreading to all this area, and you see that the only thing what you need to do is to leave the nature work, and spruce monocultures are changing to natural forest, and it have many benefits. So here I'm almost on the end of my presentation. I want to mention few important things which happened in last time in Slovakia. It was the result of work of different people and different organizations. For example, WWF Slovakia, NGO Prales, Vlk, BirdLife Slovakia, and others. But currently we have almost it is almost finished the process of establishing the nature reserve primary forest of Slovakia. It is the nature reserve which will protect all the remaining primary forests which were not protected until now. So it is a big thing. But there were also other nature reserves established in recent months. We also helped to stop the logging in Capercaillie habitats, another thousands of hectares. And from my point of view, most important thing is that people take care more about the topic, and they make a public pressure on politics. So to summary the key points from our research, disturbances are part of ecosystem functioning, and it is something like ecosystem actualization that today in the age of climate change, the nature is changing much faster, and we need to allow it on larger areas like before. Our research is showing that biodiversity is adapted to dynamic conditions, and there is no need to help them, at least now. But yes, we don't know what will be in the future, and it is probable that with climate change, the disturbances will be too strong. But most important is that we really need large, strictly protected areas, which will allow the migration of biodiversity, and it will help us to conserve ecosystem functions which we are depending on. So don't forget that the nature is not something separated from us. We are connected. It is one thing, one life, and we need to protect the nature also because it is beautiful, but also because it is our part, and without it we will not survive. So we need to fight for it more. Thank you for your attention, and sorry for a longer time.
Okay, thank you, Ondrej. I think that last take-home message everyone can subscribe to, that we have to protect nature to protect ourselves. Yeah, it definitely became clear that this is a topic very close to your heart, and it's amazing what work you do within informing people, reaching out to politicians, trying to get attention from other parts of Europe. So very inspiring.